back to my channel. Today I'm doing the mid-year freakout book tag. So this is a tag that I've been very excited to do. I remember when it was making its round on BookTube last year. That was around the same time that I had just started thinking about possibly making my own BookTube channel. And I just remember thinking that, maybe next year I could be doing this challenge or this tag on my own channel. And I was just really excited about it because I think this is a really fun tag. And here we are. Today I'm going to do this tag finally. So I've tried to only pick one book for each question. That was very difficult, so I have a few different answers to some of the questions. And also I decided not to include rereads, and yes, not that I have a lot of those, but still, I didn't want to include those. So yeah, let's just get to the first question. So question number 1 is the best book you've read so far in 2021. And for this I'm going to go with The Gentle Art of Fortune Hunting by K.J. Charles. I just love this book. It was just like everything I wanted or didn't know that I wanted, or I don't even know. I just loved everything about it. So yeah. There have been other books this year that I really loved as well, but I think this one is my favorite. Question number 2 is best sequel you read so far in 2021. And my answer to this one, I'm not really sure if it counts as a sequel really, because I wanted to mention Grumpy Bear by Slade James. But that is technically the first book in the series. It's just that, I read a prequel before I read Grumpy Bear, so it felt like a sequel, so I'm not sure if it really counts. But that one I would say is my favorite if it counts. And then I also have another answer along with that one, and that is A Storm of Swords, Part 2 by George R. R. Martin, that I read very early this year, and yeah, I just enjoy this series. This one was also really good. I don't know when I'll be continuing because I don't own the next book yet. Yeah, but we'll see. I just like the series. Then we have question number 3. New release you haven't read yet but want to. And then we have a very obvious answer that I'm going to quickly mention, and that is Heartstopper Volume 4 that I still haven't read at the time that I'm filming this. At the time this video goes up, I might have read it because I'm going to read it very soon, but as of right now I haven't read it. So this one, is an obvious short choice. But I also wanted to mention another book that I'm really excited to read, and that is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I just want to read that book. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is one of my favorite books, and I really enjoyed Daisy Jones and the Six as well. So I'm just excited to read this book, and it's been getting really positive reviews so far. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Then we have question number 4. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And I think I've mentioned a couple of times before that I don't really follow new releases, like I don't really know what's coming up. But very recently I heard that book number 3 in a series that I read early this year and really enjoyed is coming out in September. And that is the Garnet Run series by Rowan Parrish. Book number 3 is called The Lights on Knockbridge Lane. It comes out at the very end of September, I think, but I'm also pretty sure that it's a holiday romance, so I probably won't be reading it until the end of the year, around Christmas. But I'm just really excited to continue the series because I really loved the first 2 books that I read earlier this year. So yeah, definitely excited about this one. Question number 5 is biggest disappointment. And for this one I have to go with a very recent read, and that is Bad Boy by Emma Alcott. I was just really excited about this book because I read the prequel earlier this year, really enjoyed it, and I've been excited about this book ever since. The prequel kind of hinted at what was going to happen in this book, and I also read the synopsis, and it just sounded like something that I was going to enjoy. It's basically about a guy who gets lost in a snowstorm and ends up in a cabin with this other guy. And yeah, it just sounded like something that I could really like. And then I read this book very recently and I didn't like it at all. It just didn't work for me. So I was super disappointed because, I was so excited, but yeah, didn't like this book. Question number 6 is biggest surprise. And I think for this one, like I don't have any like real big surprises this year, I don't think. So I decided to go with Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. I've talked about this book before. I think that I was kind of surprised by how much I liked it. I didn't really know what to expect going in. I chose it kind of randomly because I'd heard good things about the author. And I was just kind of surprised by how much or how engaging it was and how intense and gripping and just hard-hitting. Like, it's kind of rough because there are some pretty dark things happening in here, I guess. But yeah, it was just really good, and yeah, it kind of took me by surprise in that way. So yeah, Monday's Not Coming. Question number 7 is favorite new author, and this could be a debut author or a new to you author. So for this one, I tried to pick an author that I've read more than one book from, because I feel like a lot of the time just one book isn't enough to, you know, decide if this is one of my favorite new authors. So I decided to go with an author that I read 2 books from this year. I've already mentioned this author before in this video, and that is Rowan Parrish. I read the first 2 books in her Garnet Run series early this year. I really loved them, especially the first book. And I'm just excited to read, like, you know, the other books that this author has released. So far I haven't gotten to them, but yeah, I'm super excited to read more. And I already mentioned that book 3 in the Garnet Run series will be published later this year, which I'm super excited about. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. And I mean, I don't get fictional crushes, so I don't have an answer to this one. So yeah, I'm just going to skip it and move on to question number 9, which is newest favorite character. And for this one, I have a bunch. I really tried to narrow it down because there are a lot of characters I could have mentioned for this one. Because, you know, if I give a book 5 stars, it's usually because I really love one or more of the characters in it. So I have a bunch of favorite characters, I feel like. But I tried to narrow it down to a few. So I'm going to mention Levy and Blue from the Black and Blue series by Lily Morton, because I really just love this couple and these characters so much. I'm also going to mention Simon from Better Than People by Rowan Parrish. I love this book, and the main reason for that was Simon. I just loved him as a character so much. He is someone who struggles with severe anxiety. And while I couldn't relate to like the level of anxiety that he was going through, I could still really relate to him. So yeah, I just loved him. And then I'm also going to mention the kids from The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, because they were all just wonderful. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. I tried to think about this one, but I just don't tend to cry when I read books. And I've heard other people say this as well, and the same goes for me. Like, I can get super emotional when I'm watching things on TV, like series or movies or just like sports events and stuff. Like, I get emotional, and I can like kind of recently or earlier this year I watched a series on TV and I was like bawling. But with books I just don't cry very often. Sometimes I get emotional. And I'm pretty sure I've read books this year that made me feel emotional, but I just couldn't remember what they were. So I don't actually have an answer to this question because I don't really tend to cry when I read books. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy. And for this one, I could have gone with several books. Most of the books that I love and that I give 5 stars to are books that make me happy. So I could have gone with like all of those, but the one I decided to go with for this question is The Mysterious and Amazing Blue Billings by Lily Morton. Just because it's one of my favorite books of the year, and I just loved it so much. Like, this is a paranormal romance, I guess. It's about ghosts, and it gets kind of scary at times, but you know, the romance and the couple in here, they just made me so happy. So yeah, The Mysterious and Amazing Blue Billings by Lily Morton. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. So I haven't actually bought a whole lot of books this year, if we're talking physical books. I counted and I've actually only bought 7, so not that many. I have bought a bunch of ebooks, but like, as you may know, most of the ebooks I buy are romance. Most of them are like indie romance, and they just don't tend to have the best covers. A lot of them are decent, but some of them not so much. So I just decided to look at my physical books for this question. So I'm going to mention two. The first one I've already mentioned before this video, and that is Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman, because I just love all the Heartstopper covers. They are just super cute. So yeah, I love this one. But I also wanted to mention Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is a book that I very recently acquired, and I just love this cover. I love the colors, and I'm just super excited to read this book, hopefully sometime this year at the very least, because I've heard such good things about it and I'm very excited. And the final question is question number 13. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? So I don't really have like a list of books that I really need to get to. Like, there are a bunch of books I want to get to, but mainly I just really need to read books that will complete the prompts that I have left for the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. I still have quite a few books to read for that one. So books that will complete prompt for that one I need to read. But I have one book in particular that I definitely hope to get to by the end of the year, and that is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. And the reason I really want to get to this one is just that I read the first book in the series last year, I think, sometime in the fall. And I tried to get to sequels pretty quickly after I read the previous books, and with this one I just haven't been able to get to it. So I feel like I really should get to it soon, and I want to as well, because I really liked the first book. And because I tend to forget books kind of quickly, so I like to get to sequels while I still have the previous book kind of fresh in my mind. And it's taken me so long to get to this already, so yeah, I just really need to get to this one this year. So that was all the questions. It was fun to go through them and just kind of reflect a bit on my reading for the first half of the year. I read some good books, so yeah, it was fun to talk about them in this video. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can always hit a like down below, or you could subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!